Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am super excited to be joining a bunch of awesome YouTubers who are helping Sara Scraps celebrate her 5-year YouTube anniversary with a party hop. Down below in the description box, I have links to all the other amazing YouTube videos in this hop. So once you've finished here, head over, check them all out, and pop over to Sara's channel, give her a huge congratulations, and enter her very generous giveaway. Now, Sara always has some pretty amazing 12 by 12 layouts on her channel, so I decided in honor of that I would do a 12 by 12 layout today. You'll know I don't do a lot of these, so it was time to really crack in and put together another page for my nephew Jack's album. So today I am going to use the Field Notes collection from Rosie's Studios. I will leave a link down in the description box for you, but it is such a sweet little collection. So many gorgeous icons, and the paper I really wanted to use was that tree paper there. I had this photo of Jack sort of in the wooded area of his pop's house, and I thought that tree paper was just totally perfect. It was a tiny bit busy for the photo though, so what I want to do is just layer this paper with a couple of other sort of more neutral papers. So I'm going to trim off about 1/2 inch of two sides of my tree paper, and I'm going to mount that onto some plain cardstock. Now I did try a navy cardstock, but I actually really like the grey better, so it's just a really charcoal grey cardstock. And then to give myself a place to really feature this photo, I'm going to use this wood grain paper. So it is a white, and it's just have a very small wood grain pattern in black on there. I was going to use white cardstock, but I decided I would, try and challenge myself to use something other than white. And so I'm using this other pattern. It is very subtle, but it does give just that little bit of woodlandiness to it. So that one I trimmed off, I think about 4 inches off two sides. So I end up with about an 8-inch square, and I'm going to layer all of these. So I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive, and adding this one onto the back was pretty easy. So I've got about 1/4 inch of the cardstock sticking out around the edge. And then this one here, I do want to make sure that I get this paper into the middle of my layout. So I am gonna use a ruler. You'd be shocked to know that. I am gonna use a ruler, and I want to make sure that it's centered in all 4 sides. So it's going to be about 2 inches from the top and bottom, and 2 inches from the left and right. And it just takes me a while to work out that that's from the full 12-inch sheet, not just the pattern paper. So all the way to the edge of my dark charcoal cardstock. I can make sure that's in the middle. It's nice and straight, and I can adhere that down. Now to make sure that this is all doubly adhered down, and just to add a tiny bit of texture, a little bit of detail, I took that over to my sewing machine and I stitched both of those pieces of paper down using some black thread. That was not really a particular design choice. My sewing machine was already threaded with black thread, but it actually works really nicely so that you can see it on those busy patterns. So everything is stitched down super securely now, and I can go ahead and start the embellishment. Now this page is going to be super simple. I have got everything really centered, and I want my photo to be centered on this white wood grain paper as well. So I'm just going to add a few, well, I'm going to add two. I'm going to add 2 kind of embellishment clusters around my photo just to make sure it is the focal point, and to kind of offset that centeredness just a little bit. Now these are the floral die cuts from the Field Notes collection, and despite it saying florals, there are also a whole bunch of leaves in here, which is perfect. It works perfectly for this photo, despite the fact that the photo was taken in the middle of summer, like just recently. It is a very autumnal feel to it. It was a very cold day. Jack's all dressed up in his warm gear, and just that dappled sunlight through the woods there, it kind of made it feel really autumnal to me. So I'm going with the leaves and the mushrooms, despite that not being the actual season in the photo. I think it works nicely. So I started with those really 2 large mushrooms. I really liked them. They kind of give a bit of a focal point, so I'm going to add a couple down the bottom left. That's going to be where my sort of larger main cluster is, because I'm going to add my title down at the bottom underneath my photo as well. And then on top of the photo on the top right, I'm going to add just some of the same elements that I'm adding down at the bottom, but just in a slightly smaller quantity. So I still end up with 2 clusters, but the top right one is just a little bit smaller. So as I'm going through all of these leaves here, I'm trying to pull out like 2 of each color so that I can add 1 into each cluster, sticking kind of more with those green, the navy blue, the white, what's kind of a creamy color, just steering away from the pinks a little bit. There are a lot of pink tones in that tree background paper there, so I figured that's enough pinks for this layout. I want to try and keep I guess a little bit more masculine colors. I mean, I'm not big on saying like you can't use pink for a boy layout, but for this one it seemed particularly apt to just use the green and the navy blue. Now before I get too carried away, everything was moving around quite a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and just adhere these leaves down. I'm using a little bit of smart glue, just the liquid adhesive is easier, especially on these tiny little pieces, and it just gives me a little bit of time to move things around as opposed to using my usual tape runner. Once it's down, it's down. This way with the liquid adhesive, it gives me that little bit of wiggle room to move those leaves around if I don't get them quite back in the exact place that I had them to start off with. But I do find that the smart glue, it doesn't stay super wet for a long time, so it does dry quickly enough for impatient me, and so I can get all of these leaves down and then they are stuck in the right place. So I added all of those ones underneath my photo first so that I can go ahead and adhere my photo down. I'm using some double-sided tape for that, just to make sure that that stays nice and flat and stuck, especially over those bumpy edges where all those little leaves are sticking in. And then I can go ahead and add my mushrooms. Now I was kind of considering trimming off the bottom of the mushrooms so that they were in line with that 8x8 piece of wood grain paper, but I actually like the way it kind of overlaps a little bit. It just ties all of those patterns in together. I've done the same thing with those 2 navy leaves. They overlap the edge, so they overlap the stitching and sort of move into that tree pattern, and it just helps to kind of tie it all together. Now I'm using these puffy sticker phrases for my title. I loved that scripty font that says love ya. And so I added the word love so it's overlapping both the pattern paper and the photo. Again, I'm trying to tie it all together, and then popped the little ya underneath. Now the last thing that I'm going to do, I told you this was going to be a quick one, is just add a few little puffy stickers. So these puffy sticker icons are perfect for this kind of thing. They've got all the same icons. They've got the little mushrooms, there's a few little leaves, and I'm going to add a couple of wee woodland creatures because I can't help it. Those little hedgehogs are so cute. I'm just adding them in and around my cluster, trying to sort of balance out the colors. So again, I don't want to add too many pinks, and I'm just shuffling around, adding a little bit of yellow, adding a couple of the mushrooms on top of the title just for a little bit of whimsy, and then I'm calling my layout done. Don't forget to hop along with all the other amazing YouTube videos today in this hop. Like I said, all the links are in the description box down below, and do head over and give Sarah a huge hello from me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.